see what any new user did in the first 7 days of the product, not just new in the last 7 days. What are like the features and common things that people did the first 7 days?
What would come to mind for me is the Pathfinder, as well as Compass could be an angle. So to look at new users and what they do in the first 7 days and how it impacts, for example, retention. So do we want to go through the UI already? Yeah, I think that is a bit more concrete. Yes. I was already tinkering here for the use case when there's not, we don't have the premium feature. So, but just on the two ones that I mentioned. So I would go for journeys here, and then you could say, okay, if a user has, and by the way, we're here in the media streaming, which is something like a Spotify demo environment. So we can go for user signed up, historic counts. So we can say, okay, they have an account before already, but maybe that's redundant, depending on your setup, but you could do that here, signed up, and then building out what users do. So completed within 1 day, would want to select that to 7. And that would be a way to explore that. You can build this out by clicking on more. Something that is a common question here is if you have, for example, screen viewed or page viewed, you might want to like break the property out, and then you would see those here. That would be one angle. And the other part would be Compass. I'll leave this open here in case we want to dive deeper into that. The other part I think would be interesting is Compass. And there, the story goes, it's inspired by Facebook, which back in the days found that if you add a certain number of users in the first week, then you're highly likely to retain. So in this case, we're seeing new users, and that could also be your sign-up event, or you just go with Amplitude new users. Any event, we're optimizing and we're looking for 2-week retention. And then we're seeing what are kind of like leading actions of users, or like the frequency of users doing certain actions in the 7 days. So that already brings a little bit of a perspective on the fairly open question on what do users do in the 7 days, because we're here looking at what happens in a correlation towards retention, but this could also be something else. So that would be my first two thoughts, but there are some paid features in this.
Ah, nice.